Hola amigos, my name is Mr. Alan and welcome to our brand new section of informational video series which we call Did You Know? In this video series, I will try to provide some information that you may or that you may not know. Today's video is all about the backbone of custom bikes, cafe racers. Yes, we are going to talk about cafe racers. Today, almost everyone is familiar with the term cafe racers. For some, it is just another motorcycle, but for others, it's an emotion of speed and thrill. The cafe racer is a beatnik motorcycle and its origin is heavily rooted in Britain's cafes somewhere around the 1950s. Nobody would believe that rock and roll music is one of the reasons cafe racers were born. So, the story of a cafe racer starts from the transport cafes in London and Watford. The 50s was also the time when American rock and roll music was gaining popularity. It was normal for young Brits to hang out at the transport cafes for some music from Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, and some other artists from that time. There were two cafes, Busy Bee Cafe in Watford and the Ace Cafe in London, which were the main hangout locations for many Brits. The two cafes were about 15 miles apart from each other. The agenda for young lads at the time was to drink coffee, enjoy the music at Busy Bee Cafe until they were not welcomed anymore, after which they would rush to the Ace Cafe and do the same. These rock music lovers were called rockers, and wearing leather jackets, pushing their hair up, it was natural that these rockers would need some wheels to jump around cafes. In British culture, before the Second World War, the motorcycles were a luxury only owned by the rich. But the scenario changed after World War II. Many job opportunities came up and young Brits were financially stable to get a vehicle that can keep up their fast-moving lives. Also, the drop in prices of motorcycles made it easy for the rockers to have a fast-paced vehicle to move around the town. The bikes at that time had low handlebars, lean body, single racing seat, and some modifications for the looks. Being inspired by their racing heroes like Mike Hailwood and Geoff Duke, the young Brits started racing in the streets of London on their Royal Enfield 650 twins. It is believed that a trucker outside one of the transport cafes came up with the term cafe racer when he addressed these young people saying, "You are not real racers, you are just cafe racers." And as we all know, rest is history. During the rise of cafe racers, there was another subculture building at that time. This subculture was a group of people calling themselves tunners. This tunners group would include people who were successful in hitting the 100 miles per hour mark on their cafe racers. 100 miles per hour mark is very common these days, but believe me, it was very difficult in those days. The common bikes at that time which was capable of hitting the ton include Triumph, Royal Enfield or a Norton. So the people who could not afford these bikes started chopping off their bikes up and making them lighter and powerful. This ambition of young boys to get the ton mark by modifying their bike made a way for today's custom bike sector. Many believe that the Triton was the first ever customized cafe racer. And this Triton was not industry made but homemade with a combination of Norton and Triumph parts. In the early 70s, many industrial companies like Harley, Ducati, BMW entered the cafe racer market, transforming the once known subculture into the mainstream. While being the favorite bike for everyone who is entering the motorcycle world for the first time, the cafe racers contain both the aesthetics of style and power, and I can't think of anything that I could ever look for in a bike. With this, we are catched up with the modern cafe racers that we find today. So guys, that was all the information I could give. Hope we learned something about cafe racers today. Leave in comments your favorite thing about cafe racers. Don't forget to leave a like if the video was good. Share it with your friends and subscribe for more videos like this. See you in the next video. Until then.